Their oppression has been without parallel in world history, right? Now, this is significant, especially when he says without parallel, right? I mean, because if we look at history, right, the if we look at different socioeconomic or political economic systems, right, all people on the planet, there is some form of slavery in their history. Like the Vikings had slaves, the Aztecs, the Mayans, right, the Egyptians, right. At least that's what they say, right? But the uniqueness of the exploitation of Black Americans, um, African people at one time free on the African continent, going through, being uprooted by what like what Lloyd would call a alien marauder, right? Uprooting them from the African continent and having them subjugated through the Middle Passage, through slave political economic systems. When they find their freedom from there, to be subjugated into another form of oppression called sharecropping or a feudal system, and then finding their freedom from there, right, entering into a capitalist political economic system where it's separate and unequal, right? And that combination, right, over the last 500 years, the level of exploitation, um, according to Lloyd Hogan, is unparalleled. Okay, all right. For more than 5 centuries, those people, now identified as Black Americans, have played a decisive role in the origins of capitalism, as well as the rate and geographic extent of its development. So this is something very unique to Lloyd Hogan's work and his principles of Black political economy, because a lot of the standard fare, right, is that it just assumes that capitalism existed, has always existed, and the assumption is that it will continue to exist, right? And so, like when we talk about race, or when we talk about racism, or we talk about discrimination, or we talk about bigotry, right? All those are significant problems in our society, right? But the exploitation, like working for hundreds of years and not accessing the wealth of your own society, or of your the not accessing the wealth of your own labor, right? That is significant to. Hold on, let me mute this real quick. Okay, so let me mute there. There you go. Right, that's significant to what the world looks like today. Right, the Lloyd Hogan would say that the poverty in some of the most ghettoized communities in the United States, or even the African diaspora, right, is in direct correlation to the wealth created over centuries for others, right? And that's the level of analysis that mainstream, the modern academic fare does not get into, okay? So again, for more than 5 centuries, these people, now identified as Black Americans, have played a decisive role in the origins of capitalism, as well as the rate and geographic extent of its development. So we all, it's clear, right, in this current global economy, right, that capitalism, and in particular, capitalism coming out of the United States of America, right, has global implications. And the role of the Black American, or this subaltern population, in the establishment of this modern capitalist, or what we might even call today this advanced capitalist political economic system, it would not exist if it was not for this process of these African people put into bondage. Again, fighting, right? It was not that they went willingly, put into bondage, 100% exploitation for hundreds of years, less than 100% exploitation as sharecroppers, but more exploitation than wage laborers, and then the level of exploitation as wage laborers. All of that together has helped this modern capitalist political economy come into existence and helped its expansion throughout the world.